Welcome everybody to Linux Academy. My name is Terry, and over this course we will be covering all things Linux, introduction to installation and setup. So now we're going to talk about distributions. There's little confusion as to what a distribution is exactly and what qualifies as a distribution. There are a lot of choices, so let's talk about what a distribution is. Quite simply, a distribution is one of many members of a larger set of NIX-like or Unix-like operating systems. Each of the distributions contain a large set of applications, utilities, and tools that, when we collect them together, form the core of a distribution. That distribution can have any number of intended functions, whether it be on your desktop, your server, or in law enforcement. In fact, since the kernel and many of the supporting applications and packages are free or open source, the distributions do come in many forms. As we said, desktop, which is a fully featured GUI, which is what I happen to use on a daily basis. On your server, using enterprise-focused applications and services, web server, Apache web server, MySQL database server, etc. A media server for music and video production or presentation. In fact, Linux is a very common operating system that is in many cable and satellite TV set-top boxes and is used in many entertainment center set-top boxes for media and music distribution and enjoyment. Scientific distributions are applications and tools that are targeted to scientific experimentation and reporting. And recovery, tools and utilities that assist in the analysis and recovery of systems and data. In fact, little known fact is that Linux is the most common distribution or the most common operating system used by law enforcement to do forensic analysis of computer systems when doing investigations of files, particularly when files on hard drives that may have been attempted to be destroyed. So how is a distribution organized? Regardless of what the distribution is, whether it's Debian, Red Hat, SUSE, Mandriva, and a number of other distributions, there are a number of things that they have in common. All distributions for Linux come with a set of manuals, and those manuals pertain to the applications, libraries, configurations that are installed in that distribution, and they're generally referred to as man pages. Every distribution also can have proprietary applications. Proprietary applications are applications that, although they may be distributed for free, although they also may be paid for, they are not necessarily free applications, as in the source code is not available for them. You cannot use and extend them. They are actually copyrighted. Most common applications for that are applications like anything from Adobe, whether it be Flash or the Adobe Reader, your graphics driver for NVIDIA or ATI or even Intel, although Intel is much better at releasing the source code for their drivers, sound card drivers from companies like Creative Labs, etc. Those are either applications or drivers that do not come with freely distributed source code and run in binary packages. Distributions also have the kernel, which is what we talked about in the last video, that Linus Torvalds initially developed in 1991, that was eventually paired with GNU project and its utilities and more or less morphed into what we see today as Linux. Free applications like OpenOffice, Apache, and a large number of other applications that are available for Linux in general. And then, of course, there's distribution-specific applications, things that are used by that specific distribution for the configuration management of itself. And then companies that offer these distributions must offer the distribution itself for free, but the support, which can also include updates, and Red Hat charges for access to their update network, although you can use Red Hat's Enterprise Linux and update from freely available repositories. But Red Hat makes most of its money from support, whether it be phone, mail, or on-premise. So what are packages? Packages are services, libraries, and applications that are compiled into a format that each distribution can easily distribute and install. The format of those specific packages is completely dependent on the distribution it's intended for, and they also have a variety of methods for installing and managing those packages and all of the associated dependencies. Some examples are Red Hat and CentOS are often referred to as RPM-based distributions. RPM was developed by Red Hat as a package for its operating system at the time, and several other distributions use the RPM standard. RPM stands for, strangely enough, Red Hat Package Manager, and Red Hat and CentOS use a update manager called Yum, yet another update manager. Debian distributions, of which Ubuntu, Kubuntu, and its various variants are based, use Aptitude or apt-get, and apt-get is simply aptitude-get, and they use Debian packages. And then there's the generic or general package distribution methods for all Linux distributions. The first one being, and the most common being tar, which stands for tape archive, when applications were tarred or archived to tape. TGZ, which is a tape archive in gzip format. Gzip is a compression algorithm that allows your archives to take up less space. And then the ever-present binary executable package, which is a set of scripts or binary files that will install an application but don't come with source code. So what does that leave us with? Well, as of September in 2013, Linux.com reports that there are more than 160 active Linux distributions. They're split into the following categories. Desktop, there's 76. Embedded mobile, there's 21. Enterprise is 16. Popular distributions, there are 6. Security enhanced distributions are 12. Live CDs are 33. Live CDs are a little bit of a unique animal because live CDs and now live USB keys would also fall into that category, are what they call non-persistent distributions. You boot off of a specific device, whether a CD, a DVD, or a USB key, and it does not install itself to your hardware. But you do have access to your hardware. They're very popular for antivirus and forensic recovery of data because it allows you access to the underlying hardware without being touched directly by that hardware. So if you have a virus that is on a particular PC, you boot off of a live CD and you can't write to that CD, so there's no danger of that operating system being infected by anything that is on the PC itself, and those files can be scanned and, in most cases, fixed or recovered. Many of the distribution brands, such as Red Hat, SUSE, Mandriva, you may not have heard of, but Debian certainly, Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, those are the more popular brands of distributions, and all of them are freely available for your desktop or for your enterprise server at this time. A large number of companies will offer free and paid support, Red Hat being the most notable, who has an entire business model built around it. That's all we have to talk about for Linux distributions. My name is Terry for Linux Academy, brought to you by Pinehead TV.